anyway. We are still drinking anyway. So what is the difference here? The difference here is even after you have eaten, you are supposed to sort of engage in other supererogatory activities. For instance, you are supposed to increase, if you are somebody who devotes a lot of time in making dhikr, subhanallah, walhamdulillah, wallahu akbar, it is expected of you that you do much of this zikr during this special month. Of course, people will remember that it is this month, it is during this month that the Quran was revealed to the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So it has a very special place in the scheme of things when it comes to Islamic worship. So it is very, very crucial that we pay a lot of attention during this month of Allah so that we attain the taqwa that Allah is talking about in the Holy Quran.
First you quoted there, Sheikh, you said those who came before has also fasted.
Yeah.
How different is the Jewish and Christian fast from the Muslim fast?
Of course, when we read the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not go further to explain to us the format of fasting.
Yeah, because today they have dry fasting and
Sure.
wet fasting, so
Exactly.
there's a gray area.
Of course. I mean, when you read the Quran, Allah tells us that for all the prophets, He gave them a specific format for their worships. So this is the format that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to Muslims, that you have to abstain from food, drink, and if you are married, you abstain from going close to your spouse from dusk, from dawn to dusk. This is the period where you are supposed to observe the fast actually. So that is the difference that we have from the Muslim fast as compared to the Christian or the Jewish fasting. Yeah. So basically what we are talking about here is how do we increase our spirituality? Because many a times before people will say, Jack, we've just started a fasting. Before people will say, Jack, we are in the middle of the month and we are almost ending the month, and people will say that, what is it that I have gained out of this month? Because people get so engrossed and entangled with buying food, drinking, going for iftar and the rest. So the spirituality doesn't seem to click, you know. The spirituality doesn't seem to click. So we really have to focus our mind on one key thing that the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned in one of his hadiths, where he says that ni'matani magbunun fihima kathirun minan nas. There are two favors of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on account of which many people are deluded. You know, people are cheated out of these two favors. And the Prophet mentioned health and time, free time. Now you want to ask yourself, how many hours do you have in a day? You are fasting in a day. How many hours do you have in a day to fast? It's just within a period of about 12 hours or less. Now the remaining of the time, what do you do with your time? And we all know that it's only when people are healthy that they can actually devote themselves to a lot of the things that is expected of us during this month of Ramadan. If you are not healthy, you are sick. As a matter of fact, you are not even supposed to fast, because you are exempted to fast when you are sick. So it re-emphasizes the point that, look, we have to be very conscious of our time when we are healthy. This is a time that you have to observe a lot of dhikr, always making sure that you are conscious of your actions. Even when you are at your workplace. Even when you are at your workplace, you have to be conscious of the fact that you are in a state of fasting. So that even if when you are at your workplace, silently you have to be reciting Subhanallah, Walhamdulillah, Wa la ilaha illallah. You continue doing some of these things, so that at the end of the day, your mind is focused on the fact that you are trying to gain nearness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not just the mere fact that you are abstaining from food or drink. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in one of the hadith al-Qudsi, where the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says that, look, Allah has no need of your fasting. If you cannot abstain from obscenity, insult, fighting, then there is no point in you even fasting, because that is not what Allah desires of you. Allah desires of you that the fasting will discipline you. You go through a process of disciplining yourself. So this is the essence of the fasting as far as the Ramadan month is concerned.
How about compassionate grounds for going through this exercise? Yeah, Sheikh, you know, there are people who are born with a silver spoon in their mouths. Yeah. They don't know what it feels like to feel the pangs of hunger. Is this meant to make the rich sympathize with the poor?
Yes, certainly. These are some of the benefits that those who Allah has favored, you know, with wealth, to really have the experience of knowing what the next person feels, the next person who is less endowed feels in terms of hunger or thirst. But of course, some will always say that the fasting actually is an ordained thing, whether you are rich or poor. Because if this is the argument, then it presupposes that the poor person is not supposed to fast, because already the poor person has already been experiencing the pangs of hunger. So it is an injunction from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whether you are rich or poor, whether you are old. Of course, I mean, there is an exemption for those who are really old and they cannot, fast. They are exempted from fasting. Yeah. But between the youthful age, let's say from the age of when people are matured, up to maybe in the later years of 70s and the rest, yeah, people are still strong, so they are enjoying to observe the fast. But then it is in this month that a lot of reward is received from doing good, and that is where the issue of compassion comes in. You are supposed to share the favors of Allah with the less privileged in society. If you are rich, it is in this month that you can increase your reward by giving more of what you have, unlike what you used to do when you are not in the month of Ramadan. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as is recorded in the hadith, that the Holy Prophet was a very generous person, but he was more generous during the month of Ramadan, which means he shares more of his favors to the less privileged ones than in the ordinary months. So of course, yes, it's true that people will have to really, and this is where the spirituality comes. Imagining you trying to, share what you have with others. You love those things. It's your own money, and you have toiled for this wealth. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is asking you that during this month of Ramadan, share what you have with the less privileged ones. It's not easy for you to part with what you have toiled for. And this is where the spirituality comes. The more you give, the more blessings you gain from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So yes, the rich are expected to share, to be more compassionate, to be more generous in this month. And through this process, you attain the taqwa that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about in the Holy Quran. So yes, we have to do more of charity works. We have to do more of devotional acts within this month. And it baffles me when I look at what is going on now. We are bombarded with so many things in our generation. Social media, is there, the WhatsApps are there, the Instagrams are there. So we really have to be very, very careful the time that we are allowed to social media. Even if we are on social media, because the social media is also a medium whereby you can engage in dawah activity, in sharing, spiritual materials by way of educating ourselves. But then we have to be very careful how much time we spend on social media, and how much time we want to spend with our families, and how much time we want to share in supererogatory activities. This is the month in which we are required to devote a lot of time for Allah. And how do you do that? After your Fajr prayers, what do? You don't go to bed. You need to spend less time sleeping. You need to spend, you have to cut down on your intake, the food that you take. It is not all about eating. Some people see the fasting as a form of punishment. It's not supposed to be like that. It's not supposed to be like that, because if you are there and you feel lazy in fasting, then it means that you have to really reassess your faith, because this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has asked you to do. For all 11 months, Allah has given you 11 months to be eating and drinking. Of course, we know that we have certain times that we also pray, we also fast. But then this month is a full month, 29 days or 30 days. And you are supposed to observe these days. So it means that there is a lot that is required of you by way of devotion and seeking nearness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As Allah has said in the Holy Quran that it doesn't desire anything from us except to attain taqwa.
Okay. Yeah, Sheikh, spirituality comes in different shapes and forms. How can, you mentioned reading the Quran, how can a Muslim make the best out of this month? Is it that you do azkar even when you are sitting at your desk at the workplace? Sure. Or your spirituality in this month should not affect your mundane productivity? Sure. Someone will say, I won't go to work again because I need to be spiritual in this month.
Of course, once we are being asked to fast, it doesn't mean that we should abandon our normal lives. It's a normal way of life. In some parts of the world, as I was reading on the internet, Dubai, the government has reduced the number of working hours for public servants. Wow. We are not in Dubai. We are not in Saudi Arabia. So we are supposed to go about our lives normally as we do. If you are working in an office, definitely your boss will expect that you report for work. But then the consciousness must be there that you are in a working environment. And you have to be conscious of the fact that you are in a fasting mood. And probably this is a time that you really have to demonstrate to your co-workers, whether they are Muslims or non-Muslims. You have to demonstrate to them the superiority of this month and the excellence that we derive from this month. Of course, we talk of compassion. If you are the type who is an antisocial person, Islam requires of you to socialize with people. Socialize with them, despite the fact that you are fasting. The fasting month is supposed to elevate you. Get the best out of you as far as your human relations are concerned. So you go about your normal ways, your normal life. If you're a worker, what I always advise Muslims to do,
yes,
because every person is entitled to live in a year. If it is possible for you to put in a request for you to go on leave within the month of Ramadan, which you are entitled to, I will advise every Muslim to take advantage of that, so that you can actually devote a lot of time for devotional activities like azkar that I'm talking about. We have so many azkars that we are supposed to be reciting after our Fajr, and you ask yourself, how are you going to marry this azkar with your workplace?
Yes,
so it presupposes that if you're on leave, you will have the benefit of engaging in this azkar. There are many of them. As a matter of fact, the azkar that we have to say during the morning hours, if we have to say them, we have to recite all this azkar, we will not end, we'll definitely have to report at work. So the azkars are there, and the other nafila that you have to perform, like duha and the rest, the ishraq and the rest. All these things are things that we're supposed to be doing normally, but because of the environment in which we find ourselves in. We have to report by 5:36. Somebody have to leave for work, you know. But it still doesn't prevent you from engaging in the azkar, because even whilst you are on your way in transit to work, you can be saying the azkar, subhanallah, walhamdulillah, wa la ilaha illallah, Allahu akbar. Nothing prevents you from doing this. لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك وله الحمد يحيي ويميت وهو على كل شيء قدير. You are supposed to recite this 10 times after your Fajr prayers. Now you have finished your prayers and you have to rush to work. So maybe you defer this to the time that you finish dressing, you wash. Whilst you are on your way to work, you can recite this azkar. And in this month, you have to make sure that you do it on a regular basis. So that probably maybe outside Ramadan, you lax, sometimes you forget to do it, but in this month that you have to do well to make sure that you perform some of these supererogatory acts so that you reap the benefit of this month of Ramadan.
Sheikh, going beyond the individual spirituality, our families are very important to us. In Ghana and in other parts of the world, the whole family cobbles around the TV set at sundown. And what kind of change in routine would you recommend for a family that wants to be spiritual throughout this month of Ramadan?
Yes, and I think that's a very good question, because many times, because of the way they organize iftars, almost on a daily basis, iftars are organized. So it's possible to find somebody attending iftars throughout the month of Ramadan, in which case you see that he's leaving his family at home.
Yes, sir.
We are supposed to share this month with our families, not because we've entered into Ramadan. You know, somebody may be having time to be doing all those routine activities with his family, but immediately we enter Ramadan, there are so many activities outside. But we have to find time for our families. The Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was always breaking the fast with his family, you know, at home. You know, somebody will say that yes, his home was attached to the mosque, so probably he didn't have any choice but staying with his family. But then you have to be conscious of the fact that family life is also very important in Islam. As I was coming here, my daughter was calling me, and Alhamdulillah, this month, Alhamdulillah, she's above 10 years. She's gone through the whole day today.
Wow.
I have to call her to congratulate her,
wow,
to encourage her and spur her on, because immediately she learned that we're entering the month of Ramadan, she was first to wake up at dawn.
Wow.
You know, and she promised that this month she's going to do well to do the fasting. And Alhamdulillah, she's going to, and I've called her. The first thing I tried to do when the mom called me, I said, look, I have to speak to my daughter and congratulate her. You know, and this is, even though I'm not at home, you can see that in spirit,
the attachment
is there. So even when we are outside attending the iftar and engaging in other activities, we should create that, you know, linkage with our families, the bond, you know, and bond and share that spiritual ambience with our families. You know, it's very, very important. And Islam attaches a lot of values to family life. You know, as the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his whole life he was a family man. You know, so we have to, and you gain a lot of reward. Imagine putting a piece of banana into the mouth of your wife, and she also reciprocating that. You know, this is the month of Ramadan where rewards are doubled. It's only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who has said in his hadith Qudusi that the fasting is for me. Every act of worship, Allah has given you an idea of the reward that is awaiting you. But Allah says that the fasting is for me. It's between me and my servant. Why is Allah saying this? Because, look, if you say you are fasting, you can go and hide in some small corner and just gulp down one or two, cups of water or some soft drink. Nobody sees you. You still come out and you see you are fasting. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is seeing you. But then you have decided to abandon all these pleasures. You can engage in so many things, but you have dedicated yourself to Allah. So it means that it is only Allah who can actually determine the sincerity in the heart of the fasting person. That thing is only reserved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is why Allah has said that the fasting is between me and my servant, and he is the only person who can reward you. So coming back to the family issue that you raised, we have to find time and celebrate the iftar with our families as much as we can, so that we reap more benefit from it. And by so doing, it builds the bond within the family, setting. You can imagine a wife going up and down preparing iftar, and the children too are around observing all that is going on. It helps in strengthening the bond of love and compassion that is expected of a family setting.
Sheikh, for families that are on the brink of breaking,
Subhanallah,
what advice would you have? Would you tell a man who is contemplating divorcing his wife to look at the benefits of this month and the spirituality therein, to mend ties with his wife, and people who no longer talk to their brothers, cousins that are at loggerheads? How do we keep the family system, both in body and spirit, together within this important month?
The month of Ramadan being a very special month with all the rewards that Allah has promised us, it gives you the understanding that anything that you do within this month, other than any other month, is so dear to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if you have to make a determination in your heart that, look, for the purpose of this Ramadan, I'm going to let go all the grudges that I'm having with my husband or my wife, I believe it to be a very special occasion that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to bless you. Just last week, a lady met me and she was just telling me that, look, Sheikh, I want divorce from my husband. I said, Subhanallah. Then immediately it dawned on me that we are almost entering the month of Ramadan, and she has already left the matrimonial home.
Wow.
And this is a case where it is the woman who is opting out. Can you imagine? It is not the husband who is saying that go. It is the woman who is opting out. But I pleaded with her that for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this month, blessed month that is approaching us, please go back home and let's see what opportunity will come our way by way of reconciliation.
Okay.
And alhamdulillah, she listened to me and said, okay, Sheikh, I'm going to go back home, but I will still want you to intervene.
Yeah, Sheikh, kindly is an interesting, anecdotal report you are giving, but hold your peace. Our viewers can now join us. You can call on 0302 904 768. I repeat the number, 0302 904 768. It will shortly be displayed on your set. You can call in to ask any question you have.
Yes, so the month of Ramadan has so much in it that it will be very sad for one to enter the month and get out of it being the same person. I hope you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, I do.
It means that the month of Ramadan is supposed to improve your personality. It's supposed to elevate you from one level of your spirituality to another level. And of course, when people become spiritual in their lives, in the right perspectives and in the right teachings, it manifests in the way they conduct themselves in society. For instance, if we are supposed to be reading the Holy Quran during this month of Ramadan, and reading it and pondering over it, learning, imbibing all the lessons that you are, the teachings, the moral teachings that you are reading in the Holy Quran. The Holy Quran will tell you a lot that is expected of you from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For instance, we are in an environment where there are so many things happening. Muslims are killing each other all over the world. And this month Allah is calling you to devote your attention to spirituality. You will come across a verse in the Quran that will tell you that it is haram for you to kill your fellow human being, not to talk of maybe a Muslim. So we can see that this month actually is a month whereby we have to do a lot. We have to sacrifice a lot to shed off a lot of the negativities that we have in our lives. Other than that, the month will come and go and we'll still remain the same human beings without gaining anything out of it. Because
sorry, there is a caller. Hello, your name and where you calling from?
I'm calling from North. Sorry, there is a caller. Hello, your name and where you calling?
You calling
My
from?
name is Ramadam. I'm calling from Daboya.
Okay, please, you can put off your TV completely or lower the volume on your set. And go ahead, sir.
I am talking what of if you have a girlfriend, can you let your girlfriend to go to his parents' house or he can prepare food for you?
Are you living under the same roof with this girl?
Yeah.
And you are not married to her?
Yeah.
Listen to Sheikh's response.
I didn't get the question.
He says he's cohabiting with a girl. Now that we've started fasting, should she go to her parents' home?
Subhanallah, may Allah assist our brother in this cause. In the first place, it's not even allowed in Islam for him to be cohabiting with a lady that he's not married to in the first place. Not to talk of even entering into the month of Ramadan with the same kind of lifestyle. I will encourage him to try as much as possible to stay away from this cohabitation. And if he's interested in the lady, he loves the lady, he should just go ahead and see the family. From what he's saying, he has a place of abode. He has a place where he's putting his head. That is one of the very key, things that you require as a man. And I'm very sure he's even taking care of feeding the lily since they are living under the same roof. I will want to plead with him and encourage him for the sake of this month. He should make a determination and decide that, look, he's going to put an end to this lifestyle and enter into this month with a new frame of mind to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and make a determination that after the end of the Ramadan, he's going to see the family and go through the process of marrying, because you can see obviously that he loves the lady also loves him, and they are staying together, which is haram in Islam in the first place. So it is haram before Ramadan, it will be more haram in Ramadan, and it will be more haram after Ramadan. So I will only encourage him to let the lady go to her family, so that if he loves the lady, as I can see from what he said, then he can go ahead and ask his family to go and ask for the lady's hand in marriage.
Yeah, Sheikh, within this month, there is an astronomical uptick in people's level of spirituality.
Sure.
We become spiritual in leaps and bounds.
Yeah.
Why do we clean ourselves up spiritually for 30 days or 29 days? Only for us to relapse into our old attitudes. On Salah Day, they have Salah Fest, Rama Fest, disco events, where people even get boozed. What piece of advice so that people don't mortgage their spirituality and fasting?
Yeah, this is a very, very important question. And we've started from where we started from, we are supposed to imbibe piety, righteousness, and all the good things that is expected of us. So if you will fast 30 days, and it takes you just one day, or just some few hours, or just some few minutes to undo all the spiritual upliftment that you've gone through in the month of Ramadan. It means that you've not actually imbibed the consciousness of the month of Ramadan. It means you need some more schooling to understand the essence of Ramadan. The Ramadan is an opportunity for you to renew your faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, renew all your commitments to the religion of Islam, because once you say you are a Muslim, there are so many things that is expected of you. You can't just be a Muslim by word of mouth or by name. You have to live Islam and make sure that you do your best. You are a human being. I mean, you fault here and there. You backslide one way or the other. That is why the month of Ramadan is special. You can imagine how many people have gone to their Maker since the last Ramadan. And Allah has spared your life. Still waiting to see whether you have a renewal of faith. So it's a golden opportunity actually for us to renew our faith. But then it will be of benefit to us when we actually imbibe the spirit of Ramadan, what Ramadan seeks to inculcate in us, and make sure that we carry it through the rest of our lives, so that we don't go back and undo all the blessings that we have. And that is where it's very, very beautiful when you read this hadith where the Holy Prophet talks about Allah has no need of your abandoning your food and your drinking and your merrymaking and all that.
Yes, sir.
Has no need of it. If only you will fast and you will still engage in all those things at the end of the day. So we have to do well to make sure that we discipline ourselves during this month of Ramadan. There are people who eat anyhow, and they don't even observe some of the etiquettes in Islam as far as eating habit is concerned. Look at how the Holy Prophet Muhammad ﷺ describes how people become gluttonous in their habits. He said the worst thing that a human being has filled his body with is food. When you fill your stomach full with food, it's the worst thing that can ever happen to you. It means you are not leaving space for breathing. You are not even leaving space for water. And the Holy Prophet Muhammad ﷺ gave us a very good, advice on how we should go about eating. Say, divide your stomach into 3. So somebody who will bring the watermelons, he will bring the dates, the chicken, everything will go in at the same time.
Wow.
It's a very bad habit of eating, And alhamdulillah, we are hearing so many lectures from our medical experts educating us on how we should even break our fast. Some people do not even know how they should be breaking their fast because of ignorance, because you have left the stomach empty since dawn. The stomach is going through so many reactions.
Okay.
At the point where you are breaking your fast, you are not supposed to be taking things that are very acidic in nature, like orange. Like orange. If you want to take orange, it should be one that is so ripe that the acid content is low. But we are advised that the best thing that you can use in breaking your fast is water or dates. Alhamdulillah, now the dates are all over the place. So if you have anything to substitute the dates with, fine, go ahead with it. But then don't break your fast and load so many things into your stomach. Give some brief time for the iftar. Take some small things, fruits, watermelons, water, bananas, and the rest. Allow it to digest and relax after Maghrib. Unfortunately, in our part of the world, we are in a hurry to even join the Maghrib and the Isha, So people do not really relax between the Maghrib and the Isha. But in some places, they delay the Isha and the Taraweeh. So you can just take some fruits, some dates and water for iftar, relax a bit, maybe some 15-20 minutes after the Maghrib. If you want to go and take your big meal, your sokora, your fufu or whatever, you can go for it, then come back and do your Taraweeh. So there's so much lessons that we're supposed to learn within this month. It's a month of, pursuance of knowledge. You know, you have to be attending the tafsir places to acquire knowledge of Islam. If you are the type who does not even know how to read the Quran through the Arabic, it's an opportunity for you to devote some time to start learning the alphabets. Get some students to take you, even if it is 30 minutes in a day, because there is even blessings in reciting the Holy Quran, as recorded in the traditions of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that for each letter of the Quran that you recite, there is a reward for it.
Yes, sir.
When you are praying your salat and you are reciting the Quran, and at the same time, aside of the reward that we are receiving for the salat, is the Quran itself that we are reciting, you are getting reward for it.
Yes, sir.
So it is very, very important for us to devote time and to learn our religion, so that at the end of the day, we become very conscious. Sometimes the negative behaviors is out of ignorance.
Yes, sir.
People don't actually understand what they are doing.
Yes, sir.
It has become a ritual kind of thing. They were born into Islam, they have grown into it, they have not learned the religion, so it has become ritualistic.
Yes, sir.
You know, something that they do automatically, you know. They've grown up with it.
Yes,
but then Islam goes beyond that. That is how come Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran that even as you are reading the Quran, you are supposed to understand it and digest it and ponder over it. It is only when you understand what you are reading that you have created the opportunity for your consciousness to be awakened to the fact that, look, this is what the Quran is telling me, and I'm supposed to live by the teachings of the Holy Quran.
You are tuned into Ramadan Caravan, and we've been discussing a walk with Ramadan, a time for spiritual renewal, with our own Sheikh, Sheikh Abdul Fattah Tahir Akinyele. Yeah, Sheikh, in closing, what will be your piece of advice to young people? Young people who are abusing drugs, young people who ride dirt bikes on the day we celebrate Eid.
Yeah.
In sum, what advice would you have for the Ghanaian youth as we fast and seek spiritual upliftment during this month, and what will ensue it, which is the Eid festivity?
Inshallah. That's also another very important question, and my only concern here is how many of our youth are actually listening to this program. But then it doesn't still stop us from giving out that advice. But I think the advice will first of all go to the parents. The parents, because it goes to some of the communities, the parents do not have any control over the youth. But then this is an opportunity for the parents themselves to realize the responsibility that Allah has imposed upon them. Because on the day of judgment, Allah is going to ask them, the children that I gave you, how did you mold their lives? So if they are going wayward and you have not done your part in molding their lives, inshallah, Allah is going to hold you accountable for it. The message will still go out to the youth.
Okay.
And that is why Islam pays particular attention about the youth. And when the Holy Prophet Muhammad started his message, you realize that most of the people around him were in their youthful ages. You know, the Sayyidina Abu Bakr and the rest, and the Ali and the rest, Ibn Abbas and the rest, they were very youthful lads. And they always say that the future belongs to the youth.
Okay.
So if the youth will go out there and destroy their lives, it means that we have no future.
Okay.
So this is an opportunity for us to reach out to the youth.
Okay, Sheikh.
Those who have gone wayward, those who are engaging in drug abuse and the rest. We plead with them that Allah loves them. Allah desires better lives for them. And there's better opportunity for them to mold their lives and become better citizens.
MashaAllah. Sheikh, thank you so much for making time.
Thank you so much for
This time spent
inviting
with you
me
has
too.
been quite, worthwhile.
Thank you.
And we hope to see more of you throughout this month.
Thank you very much, and thanks all the audience for having time with us.
All too soon, we've come to the end of yet another edition of Ramadan Caravan. Until we come your way tomorrow with another edition. Stay blessed. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.